Rupa Sanatana Raghujugam Sri Bhagopalakam Krishna Kirtana Ganana Tana Param Krimamritam Vanidhi Akvato Namase Samannalapati Saning Sadatu Chama Bhutvadina Ganesakam Karanaya Kopina Kanthasitav Takvatu Namase Samannalapati Saning Sadatu Chavat Bhutvadina Ganesakam Karanaya Kopina Kanthasitam Gopi Bhavarasamrita Bhilahari Kallola Magnon Moho Bande Rupa Sanatana Raghujagam Sri Bhagopalakam Krishna Kirtana Kanana Tana Param
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and welcome everyone to this Saturday morning Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, reading and discussion with the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, a group of devotees. And it's interesting to note that some people minimize our title, Prabhupada Disciples Association. They think it's something like the American political leader developed this phrase, MAGA. And people criticized him for that acronym, the words, MAGA, which means Make America Great Again. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, in the political world, that's what you do. You try to improve the life of the citizens by your policies. And in our particular case, we carefully selected the name PDA, Prabhupada Disciples Association, and people minimize it. Oh, this PDA group. Well, try to analyze what that means. Prabhupada Disciples Association, yes, we promote Srila Prabhupada as the bona fide spiritual master, and we are his disciples. And we initiate new people as disciples. Like in Mexico this month, there'll be an initiation ceremony on December 8th. And 3 people, through the Ritvik process that we follow with various rules and regulations to determine the qualification of a person, are assisting Krishna Kishore in the initiation process on December 8th. Yes. And this is another program that we have introduced here at the Prabhupada Disciples Association. And our membership are all Prabhupada disciples in the Hare Krishna Society, which was incorporated in 2002. So we are moving forward to rebuild the ISKCON movement under a new banner of Prabhupada focus, not deviant focus of so many people who are so confused by the deep state of ISKCON. So MAGA, people misunderstood that, and they misunderstood the name PDA, Prabhupada Disciples Association. And we, the Prabhupada disciples, formed this based on our lifetime experience at being situated at the lotus feet of our spiritual master. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you very much. It's good to see Nilesh Sharma. I wanted to show something to you, all of you. See this, Nilesh? This is a Bhagavad-gītā that was gifted to me when I first arrived in Mexico 4 weeks ago. A friend of mine, Jambavan, came by. He said, I've had this Bhagavad-gītā for 22 years, and I thought about you, and I wanted to gift this to you when I saw you here in Casa Goloka. So it's an authentic, oh yes. And inside you can see that it's an original printing. I saw something else, Yaśodā, very interesting. I'll show everybody this. I'll hold on. Here it's 40, they were selling it for 40 pesos. And the devotee that sold it, if you could see his name there, he, Rivera Khan Das Brahmachari. He somehow or other, I don't know if he still exists or he blooped a long time ago, but nonetheless, back then it was a prized possession. I'm going to take it back to Hamilton. There's a little bit of separation here on the cover, Nilesh, so I'm going to restore it. I have a few copies of this original book. I have my original one. When I was president in Toronto, I've preserved that for the last 45 years. So, and I just read the Gita. It was stunning. It prompts me to read it again after I finish the Nectar of Devotion. And so this was a blessing for me, an auspicious sign that Mexico City has 25 million people. There's a big field of preaching here in North America, and we hope to assist Krishna Kishore in his wonderful work here of making new Prabhupada disciples with the PDA. So we're going to go ahead. I had a request from Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. I wanted to mention we have a Facebook group page, Nilesh, that we started a few years ago. I think we have 21,600 members. We're not expanding too much lately. I don't know, maybe it's some kind of algorithm, but that's okay. This is quite a few people. And in our posts, we have 1 million people coming and referring to our posts over the year. 1 million reactions. And this one I read to Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, and he requested me to read it this morning at the program. In the last few days, we have 2,600 views of this particular post. Rupesh, can you bring it up on the screen by chance? I sent it to our God brother. Hopefully he can bring it up. I'll try to find it here and start reading. The ISKCON organization has become a deep state of misinformation and deception to attract followers for a handful of pretender gurus. Can they prove their roles as Diksha Guru according to Srila Prabhupada? Prabhupada's directions? No. It is all lies. There is no evidence, and the proof, they're pathetic deviant gurus, they're degraded examples of hundreds of deviations. Unfortunately, the innocent, thank you, are misled by lies and untruths. This ISKCON deep state of deception and untruth must be exposed and dismantled. Join us at the Prabhupada Disciples Association and protect the legacy of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Srila Prabhupada says, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that there are many materialistic persons who become preachers, gurus, religionists, or philosophers only for the sake of maintaining a high standard of living and sense gratification for themselves and their families. For example, thank you. Yes. They train some of their family members as lawyers and continually seek help from a high court to acquire riches on the plea of maintaining temples. You build a temple, and then within the temple, Prabhus, you put a first-class suite where you live for no expense to you. You live free. It's a very interesting connection between the two. Although such persons may call themselves preachers, live in Vrindavan or Navadvip, and also print many religious books, it is all for the same purpose, namely to earn a living, to maintain their wives and children. They may also professionally recite the Bhagavatam or other scriptures, worship the deity in the temple, and initiate disciples. And this is going on in the ISKCON group of bogus gurus, making a show of devotional paraphernalia. They may also collect money from the public and use it to cure the disease of some family member or new relative. Sometimes they become Babajis or collect money on the plea of worshiping the poor, whom they call Daridra Narayan, or for social and political upliftment. Recently in New Jersey, the devotees there, Prabhus, were told, don't go on street Sankirtan, don't sell books, because it'll disturb our collecting for feeding children. Thus, they spread a network of business schemes to collect money for sense gratification by cheating people in general who have no knowledge of pure devotional service. Misinformation, Prabhus. Such cheaters cannot understand that by offering devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can be elevated to the position of eternal servitor to the Lord, which is even greater than the position of Brahma and other demigods. We are the most fortunate in the Prabhupada Disciples Association. Unfortunately, fools have no understanding of the perpetual pleasure of devotional service. So that's a very profound statement by Srila Prabhupada, scripturally explained by him in the nectar of, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we're going to go to another section from the Nectar of Devotion. And I wanted to read this because we had been reading about the reaction to sinful reactions of disciples that the new gurus will have to experience because of their bogus activity. In the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 13, 17th verse, Narada Muni, while discussing with Maharaj Yudhisthira the various functions of different orders in society, especially mentions rules for the sannyasi. Those persons who have renounced this material world. One who has accepted the sannyas order of life is forbidden to accept as a disciple anyone who is not fit. Forbidden. A sannyasi should first all examine whether a prospective student is sincerely seeking Krishna consciousness, qualifying them. If he is not, he should not be accepted. Not like some of these people who have accepted 10, 15,000, 75,000 disciples. Is that proof of the deep state, Vijaya Pandit? Or do you need to hear more? Yes, you do. However, Lord Chaitanya, causeless mercy is such that he advised all bona fide spiritual masters, that's A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, His Divine Grace, to speak about Krishna consciousness everywhere. And Prabhupada traveled the earth 11 times, Vijaya Pandit, during his preaching mission. Therefore, in the line of Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, even the sannyasi can speak about Krishna consciousness everywhere. And if someone is seriously inclined to become a disciple, the sannyasi always accepts him. That's Srila Prabhupada. And remember, he denounced the sannyas order in our movement in 1977. The one point is that without increasing the number of disciples, there's no propagation of the cult of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, sometimes, even at a risk, a sannyasi in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's Srila Prabhupada, may accept even a person who is not thoroughly fit, true, to become a disciple. And so many people were pedophiles and other nefarious personalities, and they committed the greatest offenses of against Srila Prabhupada, even during his personal presence, Tamal Krishna. Later on, by the mercy of such a bona fide spiritual master, the disciple is gradually elevated. However, if one increases the number of disciples simply for some false prestige and false honor, he will surely fall down in the matter of executing Krishna consciousness. And all 11 of these original gurus have all pretty much completely fallen down. All of them. Not only them, another 50 or 60. Similarly, a bona fide spiritual master has no business reading many books to show his proficiency or to get popularity by lecturing in different places. One should avoid all these things. It is also stated that a sannyasi should not be enthusiastic about constructing temples. We can see in the life of various acharyas in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that they are not very enthusiastic about constructing temples. Why? Because the purpose of this movement is to teach people how to get out of the material world through transcendental knowledge. However, if somebody comes forward to offer some service, the same reluctant acharyas will encourage the building of a costly temples by such services. Oh yes, it's not wrong. In Toronto, we got the largest building in North America for Srila Prabhupada. For example, Rupa Goswami was offered a favor by Maharaj Mansingh, the commander-in-chief of Emperor Akbar, and Rupa Goswami instructed him to construct a large temple for Govindaji, which cost vast amounts of money. So a bona fide spiritual master should not personally take any responsibility for constructing temples, but if someone has money and wants to spend it in the service of Krishna, Acharya like Rupa Goswami may utilize the devotees' money to construct a nice, costly temple for the service of the Lord. Unfortunately, it happens that someone who is not fit to become a spiritual master may approach wealthy persons, Mr. Radhanath, to contribute for temple constructions, Mr. Gopal. If such money is utilized by unqualified spiritual masters to live comfortably in costly temples without actually doing any preaching work, this is not acceptable. Real preaching work. In other words, a spiritual master needn't be very enthusiastic for constructing temple buildings simply in the name of so-called spiritual advancement. This is what ISKCON has done, blatantly, even though the buildings are empty in North America. Rather, his first and foremost activity should be to preach. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj recommended that a spiritual master print books. If one has money, instead of constructing costly temples, one should spend his money for the publication of authorized books in different languages for propagating the Krishna Consciousness movement. Very enlightening sections today that I've read for everybody. If anybody has any questions, because these statements can be misrepresented by selfish, motivated, bogus gurus. If you have any questions, please contact us, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu or myself or other members of our association and our society, and we can help you get a clear understanding of what Prabhupada is trying to teach us in terms of practicing this process of Krishna consciousness. Do not go to these bogus gurus. They will mislead you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, the bona fide representative of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Let's move forward with our chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then our reading and discussion with His Grace Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu from California. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Sai.
Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskrityam. Narayanam namaskrityam. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim saraswatim vyasam. Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Tato jayam udirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. From Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion of Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. As everyone knows, we are reading from the original 1972 Macmillan edition, the original non-interpolated, non-edited, non-polluted, non-adulterated version that was published by His Divine Grace. As we do every week, we will repeat a few selected Sanskrit verses that were introduced by Srila Prabhupada himself in the introduction. This was done early on in 1966 in New York. We invite everyone to chant along at home and follow the translation. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shcha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with the Dvaita-Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Ghurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen soul. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This week we will be reading from chapter 12, text number 2. It should be noted that all synonyms, translations, and purport are by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Before we start, I'd like to comment, there's a few devotees with beautiful backgrounds. Mother Ruchisa in Montreal, Canada, with a beautiful picture of Prabhupada there. And then there's Krishna Kata Prabhu in San Diego, California, with always his 3 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vijay Pandit has a beautiful picture of Lord Chaitanya dancing. Thank you very much for these beautiful displays. Text number 2. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Maya Vishya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te me yukta tamam mataha. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Mayi, unto me, Aveshya, fixing, Manaha, mind, Ye, one who, Mam, unto me, Nitya, always, Yukta, engage, Upasate, worships, Shraddhaya, with faith, Paraya, transcendental, Upetaha, engages, Te, de, me, mine, Yuktatama, most perfect, Mata, I consider. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The Blessed Lord said, "He whose mind is fixed on my personal form, always engaged in worshiping me with great and transcendental faith, is considered by me to be the most perfect." Purport by His Divine Grace. In answer to Arjuna's question, Krishna clearly says that he who concentrates upon his personal form and worships him with faith and devotion is to be considered most perfect in yoga. For one in such Krishna consciousness, there are no material activities because everything is done by Krishna. A pure devotee is constantly engaged. Sometimes he chants, sometimes he hears or reads books about Krishna, or sometimes he cooks prasadam or goes to the marketplace to purchase something for Krishna, or sometimes he washes the temple or the dishes. Whatever he does not let a single moment pass without devoting his activities to Krishna. Such action is in full samadhi. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandanam Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataham Adadana Strinam Danteridam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimadrupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso asmi sarvata tat kripa pikshako nityam tat prishta sat karomi svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This particular chapter of Bhagavad-gītā is very, very important. Of course, every chapter in the Bhagavad-gītā is important, but this particular chapter deals with personalism, Vaishnavism. And Krishna in this particular verse is explaining what is personalism and why is it superior to impersonalism. In other words, the Vaishnava Siddhanta is superior to the Mayavadi or the Advaitin Siddhanta, as confirmed by Krishna here. Krishna is explaining Nitya Yukta Upasati. Nitya Yukta Upasati means, according to Srila Prabhupada, always engage in the service of Krishna. Now, this is the differentiation between those who are serious practicing Vaishnavas and those who are deviated from the actual path, various karmis, yogis, jnanis, impersonalists, and others who are trying to pursue their own way of spiritual advancement or spiritual realization. Now, this is not complicated, not difficult to understand, because Lord Krishna has already explained in chapter 6, text number 37, what is the position. This is on page 359, chapter 6, text number 47. The culmination of all kinds of yoga practices lies in bhakti yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of bhakti in bhakti yoga. Yoga actually means bhakti yoga. All other yogas are progressions toward the destination of bhakti yoga. From the beginning of karma yoga to the end of bhakti yoga is a long way to self-realization. Karma yoga without fruitive results is the beginning of this path. When karma yoga increases in knowledge and renunciation, the stage is called jnana yoga. When jnana yoga increases in meditation on the supersoul by different physical processes and the mind is on him, it is called Ashtanga yoga. And when one surpasses the Ashtanga yoga and comes to the point of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, it is called Bhakti Yoga, the culmination. Factually, Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal, but to analyze Bhakti Yoga minutely, one has to understand these other yogas. The yogi who is progressive is therefore on the true path of eternal good fortune. One who sticks to a particular point and does not make further progress is called by that particular name, Karma Yogi, Jnana Yogi, or Dhyana Yogi, Raja Yogi, Hatha Yogi, etc. If one is fortunate enough to come to the point of Bhakti Yoga, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all the other yogas. Therefore, to become Krishna conscious is the highest stage of yoga, just as when we speak of a Himalayan, we refer to the world's highest mountains, of which the highest peak, Mount Everest, is considered to be the culmination. When we look at the last chapter, the last paragraph in this purport, Prabhupada explains, this stage of highest perfection in yoga can be attained only by Bhakti Yoga, as is confirmed in all Vedic literature. Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tata guru tasyete katita hyarta prakashante mahatmanah. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Then Prabhupada gives a Sanskrit quotation, Bhakti rasya bhajanam tadiha mutropadi nerasyena mushmin manaha kalpanam etadeva nishkarmyam. Bhakti means devotional service to the Lord, which is free from desire for material profit, either in this life or in the next. Devoid of such inclinations, one should fully absorb the mind in the Supreme. That is the purpose of Naishkarmya. These are some of the means for performance of bhakti or Krishna consciousness, the highest perfectional stage of the yoga system. Now, this is a very important purport and very important verse, because Krishna confirms in this chapter 6, text 47, and of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshiping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga, and he is the highest of all. Srila Prabhupada used to often quote from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Rupa Goswami, explaining that bhakti means jnana karmadi anavritam, free from the desire of fruitive activities and mental speculation. And that kind of bhakti is considered the uttama bhakti, highest. Now, we see in this purport, at the end, Prabhupada is quoting from the Sanskrit verse, which explains exactly the same thing. Free from desire for material profit, either in this life or in the next. There's a very interesting verse from the Padma Purana that Srila Prabhupada used to often quote. It describes, Naham tishtami vaikunte yoginam hridayeshuva, that I do not reside in Vaikuntha or in the heart of the yogis. And Lord Krishna tells Nara, tatra tishtami narada yatra gayanti mad bhaktaha. I reside where my devotees are constantly chanting my glories. Now, this is quite significant because there are sometimes misunderstandings from various practitioners of these different paths, claiming that their path is superior, especially those who are practitioners of Jnana Yoga or the Mayavadis. They claim that their understanding and their path is superior. But we see in this text, chapter 6, text 47, and Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 12, text number 2, that Krishna has a different opinion. Krishna gives the conclusive opinion. Anybody is entitled to their belief. There's an interesting conversation Srila Prabhupada had with a disciple. Prabhupada says, you may believe something, but what you may believe may not be a fact, unquote. In another place, Prabhupada said something very interesting, that everybody has got an opinion, but not everybody has got the knowledge. That is why we go and submissively hear from the Acharya. We've often discussed as part of these readings and discussion how Srila Prabhupada explained several times how to recognize who is a sadhu, who is a saint, who is a bona fide spiritual preceptor or guru. Prabhupada, you have to learn to recognize a sadhu by hearing, not by seeing. Nowadays, we have so many different platforms of different individuals claiming that they understand spiritual life because they got a vote. They got appointment from some managerial committee. Well, it's a pious belief. Everybody is entitled to their pious belief, but where does Prabhupada describe that? Just like we've discussed as part of this program, how in 1977, specifically on January 7th, 1977, Bombay, Maharashtra, India, or also called Mumbai these days, Srila Prabhupada requested no more sannyas. What did they do after Prabhupada departed? They disobeyed that instruction and increased what I call political sannyas. Those of you who know the history of what evolved in 1978-79, so many persons were giving sannyas to increase the ranks of the zonal emperors. The zonal lords wanted some faithful, dutiful, and good, solid, strong men with them. So anybody that had been there for a while, give him sannyas. But Srila Prabhupada said no more. So what is the position of all these post-1977 sannyasis? Oh, I know the argument, how Prabhupada at the end of May in Vrindavan gave sannyas to 3 people, Bhakti Prem Swami, Bhakti Chaitanya Swami, and Bhakti Charu Swami. And they said, well, this opened the floodgates. No, this was an exceptional circumstance for people who were involved in translating books in Bengali and Hindi and doing special preaching directly for Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada did not open the floodgates. This is a typical example of misinterpretation of Prabhupada's orders and instruction for political ambition. And let me read a purport here. Maybe our good friend Bhakti Rupesh or Nilesh can find it. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 18, text 99. Madhya Lila, chapter 18, text 99. This is in connection with the story of the Kaliya Daha. Prabhupada explains, Bhattacharya tohe kahe prabhur charane, agnadeha yai karid Krishna darashane. At that time, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, who was Lord Chaitanya's servant, placed a request at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, Please give me permission to go see Lord Krishna directly. Oh, thank you, Rupesh. Very kind of you. Prabhupada explains in a purport, the puzzled people who visited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were actually seeing Lord Krishna, but they were mistaken in thinking that Lord Krishna had come to Kaliya Lake. They all said that they had seen Krishna directly performing his pastimes on the hood of the serpent Kaliya, and that the jewels on Kaliya's hoods were blazing brilliantly. Because they were speculating with their imperfect knowledge, they saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as an ordinary human being and a boatman's light in the lake as Krishna. This is very important section here. One must see things as they are through the mercy of a spiritual master. Otherwise, if one tries to see Krishna directly, he may mistake an ordinary man for Krishna or Krishna for an ordinary man. Everyone has to see Krishna according to the verdict of Vedic literatures presented by the self-realized spiritual master. A sincere person is able to see Krishna through the transparent via medium of Sri Guru Deva, the spiritual master. Unless one is enlightened by the knowledge given by the spiritual master, he cannot see things as they are, even though he remains constantly with the spiritual master. This incident at Kaliya Daha is very instructive for those eager to advance in Krishna consciousness. Now, somebody may say, well, you folks have already discussed this before. Yes, we have, and we'll discuss it again, because there seems to be a class of people who think that because they had some physical, personal, I love that term, living association with Srila Prabhupada, that this gives them automatically a superior understanding than everybody else. But according to this purport, it does not. Let me give an example. When I was in Badger, California in 1993, Brahmananda and Gargamuni came to visit there. And they were presenting copies of different interesting Vaishnava literatures that they had made. So I got quite a few of them. And then they pointed out to me certain books by a devotee in ISKCON, one of the leaders, in which this leader says, I confessed, in one place, Brahmananda pointed out, I confessed that I am bewildered whether Krishna Lila is mythology. Oh, you're acting as an Acharya and you think that Krishna is mythology? You have doubts whether Krishna is real? What kind of Acharya is that? This is the same as these so-called Sanskrit scholars who look at Krishna's pastimes and they say, oh, it's all mythology. Prabhupada has spoken very strongly against this view. You can look it up, whether you have the Prabhupada Folio or PrabhupadaBooks.com or any search engine. Look up the word mythology and look what Prabhupada says. There's another group in India that published a so-called video, a cartoon of Krishna, where they describe Krishna as a legend and the story as a fable. Now, I don't know if these people have sufficient understanding of the English language with the words they're using, but it's very close to the idea of mythology. Krishna is real. He was a factual historical person. On one of our earlier programs, we pointed out that some of the Greek generals in Greek who were assisting Alexander the Great, they had an area called Bactria, which is northwest of Afghanistan, and they published some coins with Krishna and Balaram on the coin, because these people had knowledge of Vedic culture. They may not have followed perfectly Vedic culture, but they understood knowledge of Vedic culture. There are numerous articles by great scholars proving the factual historical existence of Lord Krishna 5,000 years ago. Srila Prabhupada refers to this frequently. This is a very important point. But what happened if people think that because I was with Srila Prabhupada, or because I've accepted Prabhupada in my mind, in my head, in my heart, therefore this gives me a superior understanding. This is a very dangerous line of thinking. Because somebody was chosen as a manager, it doesn't give one any special understanding. And we've seen this. We've seen this with practically with their deviations, with their concoction, with their disrespect of Srila Prabhupada, with their disrespect and nonsense attitude towards Prabhupada's original teachings. They think they know better than everybody else because they had more, what Prabhupada says, remain constantly. Or here's the real warning from Srila Prabhupada right here. Unless one is enlightened by the knowledge given by the spiritual master, he cannot see things as they are, even though he remains constantly with the spiritual master. And the proof of this, these people had no brains when it came to Prabhupada's teachings. People may say, well, who the hell are you to speak like that? I'm a nobody, but Prabhupada is somebody. And you disrespected him when you started to change his books. That is not acceptable. You are not a bona fide representative. You are not a bona fide disciple. You are not part of this bona fide Vaishnava Sampradaya. You are deviant Sahajya Apa Sampradaya. Anybody who has published and distributed these nonsense books, you are disconnected from Srila Prabhupada, as is stated right here. Thank you very much, to whom it may concern.
Hare Krishna, glories to Srila Prabhupada. I want to move forward and refer to the Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 9, verse 27, from Most Confidential Knowledge. Rupesh, if you could bring that up on the screen, we'll just read from that. It's an extension of today's verse. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace. Thus, it is the duty of everyone to mold his life in such a way that he will not forget Krishna in any circumstance. Everyone has to work for maintenance of his body and soul together. And Krishna recommends herein that one should work for him. Everyone has to eat something to live. Therefore, he should accept the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna. Any civilized man has to perform some religious, ritualistic ceremonies. Therefore, Krishna recommends, do it for me. And this is called archanam. Everyone has a tendency to give something in charity. Krishna says, give it to me. And this means that all surplus money accumulated should be utilized in furthering the Krishna consciousness movement. Nowadays, people are very much inclined to the meditational process, which is not practical in this age. But if anyone practices meditating on Krishna 24 hours by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra round his beads, he is surely the greatest yogi and is substantiated by the 6th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā. So this is a very definitive explanation of how to utilize time. And Chanakya Rishi told us that time is your most valuable asset. You could die at any moment. I know some of our members have had recent heart attacks and had a encounter with death because you could die at any moment. So time is most important because Chanakya Rishi said you cannot buy it back for millions of golden coins. Once it's gone, it'll never return. So opportunity to serve Krishna is the duty of the devotee. And Prabhupada explained in this purport that you should not only do these simple services, because Krishna consciousness is simple for the simple, difficult for the crooked, people that want to deviate from the process of serving the spiritual master and Krishna with some kind of motive. It becomes difficult. Prabhupada said, you can go to the market and buy food as your regular work, and then come back home and offer it to Krishna and eat it and offer it to others as prasadam. This is Prabhupada's direction. Actually, people that cook from this for themselves are only eating sin. You should cook for Krishna and you should distribute prasadam to other people. That's your duty every day, not just once in a while. And you could always go to the front door, Nidesh, and call out, as it says in the Bhagavatam, is there any hungry man that wants some food, some prasadam? There's always an opportunity to distribute even to one person a day prasadam. So Krishna consciousness is a simple process. And Prabhupada also mentioned here, just to highlight, that the use of money. Now, some people would say, oh, well, money is Maya. Yes, it is. But when it's engaged in the service of the spiritual master for printing books, then it is a source of liberation. Anything that's being used in the service of sense gratification is a cause of bondage. But that same energy, when it's dovetailed and selflessly dovetailed, actually joyously performed, devotional services joyously performed, when you're eager to serve Krishna with whatever you have, then that is the difference between a devotee that is pure in their actions and their service and those who are motivated for personal reasons. You actually want it. In fact, I'm going to draw a simple example. In my ashram in Hamilton, I tell the people that are coming to pay their rent, Prabhu, please offer the money with a smile. Here, thank you. Not begrudgingly give your Lakshmi because you're envious. We should, with enthusiasm, give money for spreading Krishna consciousness, for the publication, as Prabhupada said earlier, for the publication of books, which is more important than the construction of valuable temples. And so that's one of our mandates at the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, to publish and distribute books. And we're going ahead with that, just so you know. So Krishna consciousness can be very simple for the simple and very difficult for those who are improperly motivated due to material ambition. Yaśodā-nandana, Prabhu, if you could further comment.
You're raising some very important points. I've been posting on the screen there in the comment section, the chat section, different quotations from Srila Prabhupada about this idea of some people who do not understand the nature of Krishna's activities. I just want to read from one of those because I think it's very important. Again, I will make the point. I want to quote exactly because somebody may challenge, well, where do you get these ideas from? Okay. According to some members of the self-appointed Acharya Sabha, or of the neo-cult, who say, we read Krishna book while the fire burned down in the fireplace. I confess I battle constantly with doubts that Krishna Leela is mythological. This is from Here Comes Srila Prabhupada, week 1, August 10th, at 11 a.m., page 56, from Gita Nagari Press in 1992. And then there's also another group. In recent years, a cartoon video titled Little Krishna has been propagated. In the video itself and in its promotional materials, various statements such as legends, fable, etc., have been attributed to the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Various comments within the video itself. Prabhupada explains in a lecture, a conversation in Bombay, India on December 20th, 1976. This is a room conversation in Bombay, India on December 20th, 1976. Prabhupada says, Imam Vivasvati Yogan Proktaban Aham Avyayam. Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 4, text 1. The science of Bhagavad-gītā. I spoke to the sun god millions of years ago. By the calculation, it is 40 millions of years ago. Now, who will believe that? That Krishna spoke this Bhagavad-gītā 40 millions of years ago to the sun god? Who will believe that? They'll say mythology. So where is the faith in Bhagavad-gītā and faith in the words of Krishna? Understanding Hamlet without Hamlet. You cannot make your interpretation that whatever is written there. I take that that is not the way of understanding Bhagavad-gītā. Then from the very beginning, you'll spoil it. Then what is the meaning of preaching Bhagavad-gītā? If you do not accept the direction of the author, then what right you've got to say that you have understood Bhagavad-gītā? Indian man. Could it be that there may be different interpretations? Srila Prabhupada, no, that is not possible. That is not the process. You cannot interpret Bhagavad-gītā. If you want to preach Bhagavad-gītā, you must preach what Krishna has said. If you've got a different philosophy, you can say differently. You don't cheat people that you take Bhagavad-gītā and interpret in your own way and cheat others and be cheated yourself. You cannot do that. Yes. Well, for example, Tilak Maharaj, from Tilak may be, Gandhi may be. Whoever may be. But the point is that you have to understand Bhagavad-gītā according to the direction of the author. Because you are Mr. Tilak or Mr. Gandhi, you can do everything on Bhagavad-gītā. Yes, no, that is not the idea. But there are different types, slokas. Srila Prabhupada. Now, how you've got different types? Just like the Bhagavad-gītā begins, Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yuyutsavaha. Bhagavad-gītā 1:1. So Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra, how you can interpret in a different way. Kurukshetra is already there, but how you can interpret. Kurukshetra means this, Kurukshetra means that. You cannot interpret. So the point is that we see that certain persons who consider themselves very learned and very scholarly, because they do not hear properly from the Acharya, submissively hearing from the Acharya, they come up with this bogus idea. Thank you very much.
Yes, we're going to our next section, which is the discussion with our panel of Vaishnavas, and we'll get to Nilesh Sharma in a minute. We're going to, I see Dharma Bhavana has returned from India. I believe he was on a parikam in Vrindavan. And I wonder if he could share some of his comments today on the screen, if it's possible, if he's back in America. Dharma Bhavana Prabhu.
Just a second. I'm trying to, oh, there it is. Okay, I became unmuted. Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, well, this trip to India was very unusual. We didn't want to go to see as many pilgrimage places as possible and meet devotees as much as could be done. But my friend's father passed away recently, and he wanted to put his ashes in the Ganges River. So we had a service to do, a different purpose to go there for. So we did that. We went to Vrindavan shortly, but you could hardly breathe. The smoke was so bad coming out of Delhi that it was very hard to breathe. And then there was trash everywhere. So you try to see it as a holy place, as Krishna's holy land. But at the same time, the people there seem to have, at least many of them, kind of a disrespect for Vedic culture, in the sense that people don't want to throw trash in a trash can. They just put it all over the road. It's quite a messy thing. And because it was Kartik, there was hundreds of thousands of people in Vrindavan. It was unbelievably just very, very busy. So we went to Rishikesh to put his father's ashes in the Ganges River, and the other devotees helped with the ceremony. It was very beautiful, and that turned out just wonderful. Then he had to go to different business that had to be taking place in South India. So we went to Bangalore and spent several days going to Tirupati, Venkateshwar, and that was a good experience. But at the same time, many people are influenced by thinking that you should go there and ask Balaji to solve their material desires. So I got kind of tired of hearing that. One lady wanted to have her father-in-law's heart condition. She was from Kentucky. She wanted to have her father-in-law's heart condition solved. So many different types of people are trained to ask Balaji to solve their material desires. So I thought that part was a little bit disappointing. Then we went to Udupi, over there near the Arabian Ocean, near the ocean. And that was Madhvacharya's place where he was at most of the time. And we asked the priest there, where is his samadhi at? And they said, well, his samadhi is not here because he's still living in the Himalayas. So I said, oh, okay, I'd heard about that before, but I didn't know. But that was the most transcendental place where you could feel the presence of the Acharya. One thing we asked about was how they did to preserve his Tadiya, his different things in relationship to him. And they showed us this room where he had this about a 4 foot by 4 foot seat. You couldn't go in the room because the priest took very good care of it. And they honored Madhvacharya's sitting place, his seat, his asana, by in so many different ways. They didn't want anybody to disrespect it by sitting on it. And so they so it was a very spiritual place. You could feel Madhvacharya's presence there. It was just really a kind of a wonderful. And then but still they had a Bhagavad-gītas in Sanskrit, but they didn't have any like the books that we have with translations and purports in English. It was not like it seemed like I could not explain completely how this was a Madhvacharya Sampradaya, but it was not the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, because the Gaudiya Vaishnavas accept Lord Brahma's illusion. I don't know too much about this, but there's a slight difference. But at the same time, they worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and have great respect for the Vaishnava tradition. So they're almost the same as the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, but just a little bit different. So I just want that's a quick summary of our time in India. I think we're going to go back again in a few months because we have an OCI card. We can go back without worrying about having to leave. So we're going to try to go back again in a few months. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Glory to Prabhupada. And I just before we move to Nilesh Sharma, I wanted to make a quick comment to you, Dharma Bhavana, about the respect that they gave to the room of Madhvacharya and how they were so diligent in protecting it from any other person entering or offending Madhvacharya. Now, it's interesting to note, everybody, and I want you to know this. I saw the photograph in Vrindavan last week. They took Srila Prabhupada off his Vyasasan at Krishna Balaram Mandir and replaced him with one of his godbrothers.
Wow, that's weird.
That's bizarre.
The photograph was there. I couldn't tell if it was Sridhar or Krishna Das Kaviraj. And they gave an explanation like this. Oh, that sometimes Prabhupada would give up his seat for his godbrothers. And they justified it on that. Completely false and very disrespectful. Right at Krishna Balaram Mandir, where Prabhupada was so proud of that temple and its construction and its focus when he was personally present with us. But somehow or other, this contamination, this deep state of confusion and misrepresentation is like a cancer spreading everywhere. And by the way, Prabhus, there's difficulty in some other country. Nilesh, maybe you could speak on it. I think it's Bangladesh, where they're going around and killing ISKCON devotees, killing them. And I made a comment, yes, well, this goes on. And it's easy to see that when things go wrong in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, Vaishnava Sampradaya, this is a sign that Krishna is punishing these people.
Wow.
That Krishna is dismantling this movement, just like there's only 3 devotees in Mexico after 50 years and 25 million people at the Mexico temple. Nilesh Sharma in the United States, yes, Florida. Hare Krishna. Your question, Prabhu, for Yaśodā-nandana.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Very nice to hear today's discussion. And something comes up, something pops out very strongly amongst today's discussion, if we were to see, is in order to understand Krishna or Krishna consciousness, the bottom line is we need to get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Until and unless we don't get the Guru's mercy, we cannot have this knowledge enlivened within us, and we cannot understand this knowledge at all. So the question comes, how does one get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada? You see, clearly a physical association alone is not enough, you see, and that is why I would like to share something over here which I found. Let me do this. I was reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we were talking about the different yoga systems in today's day and age. And I would like to bring everybody's attention to this particular text, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 4, words 21 and 22. In the purport, Prabhupada talked about these different types of yoga systems. For those grossly engaged in identifying the body as the self, pious activity or karma yoga is recommended. For those who identify the mind with the self, philosophical speculation or jnana yoga is recommended. But devotees standing on a spiritual platform have no need of such material conceptions of adulterated devotion. Word, adulterated devotion. Avishuddha bhakti. This is what we talk about. Adulterated devotional service does not directly aim for love for Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, service performed strictly in conformity with the revealed scriptures is better than such with the bhakti, because it is free from all kinds of material contamination. It is executed in Krishna consciousness solely to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how can you please the Supreme Personality of Godhead through your devotional service if you do not invoke the Guru Maharaj's mercy? So the question comes back, how do we get Srila Prabhupada's mercy? Then the second part which I wanted to talk about is Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu spoke about is what is mythology? This is a discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam in Vrindavan, October 7, 1976, where Prabhupada is discussing the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I'm going down a little bit just to kind of focus on what is mythology. And give me 1 second over here. So I missed it. It is right here. Right from here. Unless God has got inconceivable energy, he is not God. This has been discussed by Jiva Goswami. If you do not accept inconceivable energy of God, then there is no God. That is inconceivable. Ajopi san, avyayatma, bhutanam ishwaropi san, sambhavamyami, atma mayaya, paritranaya sadhunam. This is God. How it happens, how it's possible. If you understand properly, then you become liberated simply by understanding this, that Bhagavan, why he shall not appear as son, why you shall restrict. God is not under your restriction. That is God. If he becomes under your rules and regulation, then he's not God. That is inconceivable. How Ajopi, although unborn, how he takes birth, Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam, Ishwaropi bhutanam Ishwaraha. He is the supreme controller, but he likes to be controlled by Mother Yaśodā. Bhutanam Ishwaropi san. He controls everyone. But why he accepts one lady, innocent lady, not very educated, not Vedantist, a village lady, interested in churning curd and butter, not Vedantist, but he has become just like a very affectionate son of this village lady. You see? Now, if we were to, there is one part which I was looking at right here, this one. And those who are not devotees, they cannot understand how is it possible. They say it is what is called mythology. It is mythology. It is not mythology. It is a fact. Vyasdeva is such a learned person, Vidvan. Lokasyanto vidvams chakre satvata samhitam. He is Vidvan. Vidvan means very learned. He has written his Satvata Samhita with some mythology, some fiction, some imagination. It is rascaldom to consider it like that. It is not mythology, it is fact. That is Bhagavan. He has wasted his time to describe some mythology, but they have no common sense. And not only that, Vyasdeva has written, later on all big commentators like Sridhar Swami, Vijay Dhwaja, Virara Raghavacharya, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, Sanatana Goswami, many, they have never said that this is mythology. Never said. Never said. You will not find any of the comments of these big stalwart Acharya, Virara Raghavacharya. He is very learned scholar belonging to the Ramanujacharya Sampradaya. They have never said it is mythology. Where do you get this idea of mythology? That is possible. God is all powerful. He can do anything. He can appear. Why should you restrict him not to become the son of Devaki? Why should you restrict? He is under your control, or you are under his control. He can become Devaki Sutta. He can become a small child to be chastised by Mother Yaśodā. He likes it. Everyone offers him reverence, all respect. Nobody dares to restrict him and chastise him. Nobody goes to God you cannot do this, you're a fool, you're a rascal. Nobody says, but still he wants to hear all this. This is a pastime. So this is very interesting. And of course, because this kind of marries into what the Prabhuji who just came back from India, you know, in fact, one of the unique features of Udupi, where he found a lot of transcendental vibrations, Dharma Prabhu, it is that if you notice is that if you go to this temple in the Krishna Mutt in Udupi, if you notice that the deity has moved 90 degrees, so that when you enter through the main temple of the main door of the temple, you will not see the deity. The deities you see the side. Why did the deities move? Because of the story where it goes that a Harijan, a person of a lower caste, a devotee, a pure devotee of the lower caste, was not allowed to enter into the temple, and so he wanted to take darshan of Sri Krishna, and so Sri Krishna moved and rotated 90 degrees just to give him darshan. So till this date, if you go to this Udupi Mutt, you will see that the Sanctum Sanctorum is kind of moved completely 90 degrees because of that. So it's a very interesting thing. So mythology and Srila Prabhupada, and how does one get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada? Just not physical association, but following Prabhupada's instruction is how we can get Prabhupada's mercy. That is the common part of understanding this whole process. I would love what Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu has to say. Hare Krishna.
I want to, before we bring Yaśodā-nandana back on the platform, I have a question for you, Nilesh Shama. If you could answer this, because I didn't hear the answer. How do you get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada in 2024, Prabhu? How do you do it? Like in this Sankirtan mission, what do you do to please Srila Prabhupada to get his mercy? Go ahead.
It is very simple. As Prabhupada says, what is the difficulty? It's the common statement. What is the difficulty? It is very simple. Be it 1965 or be it 2024, all we got to do is follow his instructions. Follow his instructions to the sincerest content of our heart. Because if we are not sincerely following his instructions, there is no way we can get mercy. And we know that through Guru's mercy, we can conquer anything in this material world, but we are not interested in. Like if you look at Bali Maharaj, that Bali Maharaj was inconquerable even by the devas who had the nectar after Sagar Manthan. The reason is because he had the blessings of his Guru Maharaj. So until and unless we don't have the blessings of Guru Maharaj, and our Guru Maharaj is nothing to do with on a material platform, but a spiritual platform, and if we follow his instruction sincerely, without any changes, no matter what our background is, no matter how fallen I am, no matter how sinful I am, but if I am following his instructions to the core, then there is nothing for me to worry about. There's nothing for me to worry about, because when I follow his instructions, I am associating with Srila Prabhupada. I'm being directed by him. And when I listen to him submissively, I listen to his instructions submissively, all the purports of the Vedas will be revealed to me. All my questions will be answered. Because remember what Prabhupada says, what happens if we have questions when you're not there? It says, reread my books. You reread my books and you reread my books and you will get your answer. And this has happened to each one of us in this particular congregation. I guarantee you that. It has not just happened to me, not just happened to you, not just to Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, but each and every person in this particular group who has sincerely followed his instructions. And coming to the last part, which you had a question about, it was the Bangladesh thing. You see, the ISKCON there has been a systematic genocide of Hindus in Bangladesh. And they have declared ISKCON as a fundamentalist organization. And that is the reason why they have murdered one person, and they have arrested the head of ISKCON Dhaka in that particular area. And so this whole movement is against that. Of course, there are a lot of Hindus which want to kind of fight against this aspect. But the main idea is it is a systematic genocide which is happening in Bangladesh, like in any other Islamic countries. It is unfortunate. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Well, further to your answer, which was a good answer, by the way, our understanding is a practical one. Because when you were involved in pleasing the spiritual master, you actually tangibly show him by your actions that you're working together to spread his mission in cooperation with his disciples. That's how it worked. For example, in Toronto, we purchased a building which is now worth $45 million. Prabhupada sent me a letter personally and said, this is a topmost triumph for Krishna. And now use this building to preach Krishna consciousness to everyone in this city. And we put up the sign of Hare Krishna for tens of thousands of people, millions of people to see the sign of Hare Krishna. We put on Rath-yatra festivals. And millions of people in Toronto have come to the festivals. Now it's much different, but it's different because of the bogus gurus. So here's the point. Do something tangible to serve the spiritual master. Let him see you actively working with others, because the purchase of the Toronto temple was done with teamwork. It wasn't one person. It was a group. And we worked together. And we cooperated. And people were respectful to each other. They weren't self-engrossed in their own personal ambitions. They weren't. They were selfless in their service. And that cooperation made the difference. And that's how you please Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada used to say, tell us how many devotees you've made. Make that the garland around your neck of new people that you've brought to Krishna consciousness. The number of books that you sold. The number of plates of prasadam you distributed. And that was done with the cooperation of each other. And we all worked as a teamwork. That's how you please Srila Prabhupada. And he said this, Nilesh, you can demonstrate your love for me by how you work cooperatively to spread my mission. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could please elaborate.
Yeah, they're very good points that were raised by both of you, especially Nilesh Prabhu, Neil Shyama Prabhu. I really like his approach, his understanding, but one should not be satisfied in a stalemate. One should try to progress more and more. And this also has a lot to do with how we dress, how we present ourselves, our hairstyles, wearing tilak, wearing neck beads. All of this is part of the process of becoming more and more faithful and following Srila Prabhupada's instruction. And this is not aimed towards any particular individual. This is just a general statement. I just want to relate a little story. In 1970 in Los Angeles, after Prabhupada gave sannyas to Brahmananda, Gargamuni, Subal, and Vishnu Jan, he called for Madhvisa Das at that time to come to Los Angeles from San Francisco, and he was going to give him sannyas. So on the day of the ceremony, Prabhupada was sitting on a Vyasasana and Madhvisa came in, but his tilak was very faint. And Prabhupada looked at him and he says, go back and put tilak. We cannot proceed with the ceremony unless you put tilak. So he came back and put fresh tilak, 12 tilak on Prabhupada, but Prabhupada was very pleased. Prabhupada was very happy. And I've seen also in India, some devotee came in Prabhupada's room with no tilak. And he told Prabhupada, oh, I just took a bath. Prabhupada says, well, after you take a bath, you put on the tilak. Now, we know in the Nectar of Devotion, one of the reasons for this, again, this is not a personal issue here. In the Nectar of Devotion, it says, if you put tilak and you have tilak, the Yamadutas will not come for you. You are specially protected by Lord Vishnu and Lord Krishna. There is even an Upanishad which describes the glories of wearing tilak. It is not just a sentimental thing. There are reasons why Vaishnavas of all sampradayas wear tilak, and this is very important. Same thing with neck beads. Wearing of tulsi. Tulsi is very powerful, very powerful. And even the name of tulsi is sufficient to purify the consciousness. The thought of tulsi, even in Hari Bhakti Vilas, there's a place, well, what if you don't have tulsi leaves? If you live in a place where you can't grow tulsi? And it says that you can even use the name of tulsi. That is super potent. Just thinking of tulsi. So neck beads are also very important for Vaishnava devotees. Prabhupada introduced all of these practices for us to benefit from, because we come from Lecture background, especially us, Lecture and Yavana background, and by becoming more and more involved in all of these things, this is part of the appreciation and following the instruction of the spiritual master. Now, there is a difference between Shishya and what is called in Sanskrit Upashishya. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a Sanskrit term that is used by Krishna Kaviraj called Upashishya, one who is less than a disciple, like a sympathizer, a friend of the devotees. That's nice. But once somebody is initiated, one has to strive to become a proper disciple, a proper follower. Just to say, I'm following Prabhupada. It's like I had an exchange with a devotee many years ago. Says, well, I got Prabhupada's mercy. I've accepted in my head and my mind and my heart. Well, that's nice. I says, well, why don't you take a proper initiation according to Prabhupada's instruction? Oh, I got Prabhupada's mercy. Well, that's nice. In your head, in your mind, you got. Well, why did Prabhupada tell all of his disciples in his books, and by practical example, that they should take a proper initiation in front of the deities, in front of the spiritual master, in front of the Vaishnavas, in front of the fire, in front of the demigods? There is a reason for this. It's part of the purifying process of Vaishnava activities. But Neil Shamar Prabhu, thank you so much for bringing these points about Udupi. That's another place that is very special for all Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Thank you for bringing these things to our attention. Hare Krishna.
Glorious to Srila Prabhupada, and we want to thank you all. Gee, time flies, when you're having fun. It's now 10:43 a.m. here in Yautepec, Mexico, Casa Goloka, and around the world, our time has come to a conclusion. But we are going to reconvene tomorrow morning for Srimad Bhagavatam reading and discussion with our enlivened group of Prabhupada disciples, members of the Hare Krishna Society. And we want to thank all of you who are coming forward to be a part of this. And please invite other people to join us in your social media outlets. Constantly promote this. It's important that we share this information to other people. 7:45:17 in Geneva, Switzerland, Pierangelo, who's a regular participant and enjoyer of these blissful conversations. And it is truly a merciful experience for all of us to share this Prabhupada Leela together in this Zoom class online. It is real mercy, and let's share it with others, as many as you can. and continue to make devotees like they are in Mexico, and we are in Hamilton and around the world, and propagate the truth of the matter to everyone that you meet in your daily activities. So all glories to the Sankirtan movement. Thank you again, everyone. Let's move forward. I want to compliment our host, our co-host, Rupesh, for his diligent effort in carrying on with this programs that we are posting online. We have over 1,000 hours, everyone, of broadcast time online. 1,000 hours. People ask us, what do you do with your time? Well, we're working ahead as best we can, and we appreciate all of your participation in helping to make this a opportunity for others to become disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, our spiritual master. Let's go ahead, Rupesh, with a 2.5-minute kirtan led by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Haribol.
Rupesh?
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thank everybody for participating in this lively program. Vishwakarma Prabhu in Yautepec, Mexico. Rupesh Prabhu in Bombay, India, or Mumbai, India. I don't know how to pronounce it. Neil Sharma Prabhu in Miami, Florida, or Fort Lauderdale, or Udupi, with a transcendental description of the Udupi pastime. Dharma Babra in Texas, and then Rochisa Mataji in Montreal, Canada. Vijay Pandit, Trailoka Vijaya in Florida. Pier Angelo in Switzerland. Vijay Pandit in, I don't know where in Italy right now, but he is in Italy. And everybody, Joseph Felici in Hamilton, Ontario. Michael Dillon in Yuba City. Everybody, thank you for participating. Welcome tomorrow for another lively discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 10 o'clock a.m. Florida time and Hamilton, Ontario time. Please come and participate. We're looking forward to more enlivening comments from Vishwakarma Prabhu and Vijay Pandit Prabhu and our good friend in Miami, Florida, or Fort Lauderdale, wherever it's going to be, Nilesh Sharma Prabhu. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare